formulas on the team site, BITCOIN8M, and here are all the different features, man. It's an upgraded version, 1 megabyte block size to 8 megabytes, and that's what I'm talking about, man. 8 times the regular max block weight. If you want to actually know what that means, if 1,000 consecutive blocks in the past show acceptance of big blocks, for every release of Bitcoin Core, again, they come in the cut, they come with this, and in similar versions with a different actually convention that contains just the above tweak. So just keep that in mind, guys. The amount that this is able to do is 8 times the amount of Bitcoin Core, so that's surreal. And another question people are asking is, will it cause a hard fork? And again, the way we talk about that and the way they've actually programmed the situation to not have that happen, it's programmed to only start accepting large blocks only if big block support is signaled in all last 1,000 consecutive blocks. So they really made sure to set it up like that. That way you don't fall into hard forks or situations like that. So if a miner decides to mine the large block before the condition is reached, the block will be deemed invalid by both BITCOIN8M nodes and Bitcoin nodes. So again, no other miners will work on extending the chain containing the large block. So really the mechanism they put into place to make this happen is surreal, boys. You don't see many projects coming in here and trying to upgrade Bitcoin Core. They think it's already everything it needs to be. But again, as you see on the site, there are issues, man, like scalability issues, and we're going to be getting into all of that. And when they do that, guys, the rest of the network will actually continue to work on the chain to make sure there's no large blocks, as I mentioned, and this will actually prevent the hard fork, all in all. And again, if you want to look at their site, they talk about Satoshi when he developed Bitcoin in 2009. It's been hailed as a radical development. Of course, we're all here because of Satoshi. That's the god of crypto. We all know how that works. But again, guys, they come in and they say there's actually, it was created to be a peer-to-peer cryptocurrency that was used for daily transactions. So then that's where the whole argument comes in. And then once it's actually gained a lot of traction, it had some scalability issues. Again, sending a lot of transactions. We're seeing it right now in the space. Transactions are taking a long amount of time, and it's surreal. And here it talks about that, man. The confirmation time and fees for the transaction on Bitcoin blockchain surged. Of course, we already know that nowadays when you make a Bitcoin transaction, it's way slower and way more expensive than it used to be. And here it's talking about weakening the argument for Bitcoin as a competitor to expensive credit card processing systems, because again, guys, those processing systems are able to do it so fast, push it out, and they're good to go. And this was mainly due to the 1 megabyte block size limitations for Bitcoin. So them coming in and actually bringing in something 8 times that is surreal. So just to give you more of an explanation, man, the Bitcoin transaction processing capacity maximum using an average is only 4.6 transactions per second. And guys, that's pretty slow compared to other, and actually comparing it to the Ethereum 1.0 network, that can approximately 30 transactions per second. So if you actually take that in 4.6 to 30, not even close. And then there's Ethereum 2.0, which is set to handle 100,000 transactions per second. So again, not even close, man. And actually looking at Visa does around 1,736 transactions per second. So keeping all this in mind and looking at these numbers, you'll actually reach the conclusion that Bitcoin is quite behind, man, and there's no other way to look at it. And again, example, comparing the highest fees of BTC, ETH in the latest transactions with the amounts between 20 and 20 USD. Look at the fees, man. 532 times the BCH and 2.5 times more than Ether. So really looking at these breakdowns of these fees, man, it's huge. It's absolutely huge. And here you guys can actually learn what were the arguments. And this is where the Bitcoin Core team actually came into play. And they've developed a lot of stuff. They had a proposal called SegWit2x, for those of you that are familiar with that. And they said this will upgrade Bitcoin in 2 steps. And they worked on that. And then again, guys, SegWit2x is SegWit plus 1 batch of hard fork block size up to 2 megabytes. So again, this actually isn't the desire of the Bitcoin community. So this was a problem as well. Bitcoin Cash into play. Of course, Bitcoin Cash had its own problems, and then after this they came up with the idea of BITCOIN8M, and this is where you learn about it in more detail. Bitcoin is still held back to the 1 megabyte block size because of the reason to keep the network decentralized, stable, and have urge layer 2 lighting to grow, guys. So that's necessary. So then they came in to the space and came up with this idea, with this mechanism, to say no, there's actually a way around that. You can 8x that. You can be 8 times faster. So they really came into the space and they made it much bigger. And here it really tells you the breakdown. After this is done, guys, Bitcoin will be traded more even in difficult countries like Venezuela. So that's where the whole idea comes into play, guys. Benefits of a bigger block size, as you guys can see. Why the block size should not be too small. So they're just saying you need to understand this before you really understand what the whole point is here. So actually having small block sizes could lead to Bitcoin future held and controlled by bank-like institutions, because it's used for peer-to-peer, and if it can't process it, you need a higher power to come and help you process these. So that's just goes against everything we stand for, right guys? Exactly. So then they come into this space. They said instead it could lead to a future where only bank-like institutions make transactions with one another, while the regular people actually don't need to do this. So really takes away from the whole Bitcoin aspect of me being decentralized, of not having an entity control it, and etc, etc. And then after they come into the space, they make the block sizes bigger. Most people would be using Bitcoin at all. So it really gives you the breakdown here, man, the benefits of it. With 1 megabyte compared to 8 megabytes, you have 4.6 transactions per second compared to 116 transactions per second. So way more than 8 times. I don't want you to get it misconstrued and think because I'm saying 8 times larger, it's 8 times faster. No, it's much more than 8 times faster. As you guys can do that division by yourself. We're just saying it makes the block size bigger. So then, guys, comparing this to Ether, comparing this to Visa, you're picking it up, man. You're getting where you need to go. You're going the right directions. And here it just tells you, as far as a trader, y'all know how that works, right? Like traders, they're doing a bunch of trades a day and they make money on small margins. So again, having this, you really actually pay a lot lower transaction fees. So for traders, that matters a lot. Here it tells you the minimum with 1 megabyte, 2.92 USD. Again, traders trade a lot, and a lot of them trade with small amounts because they're just trying to get started. So right now, guys, the minimum is this and the maximum is 21 USD. And then if you look at it in the other way with the 8 megabyte, which is what BITCOIN8M is bringing into the space, you guys can see it much lower limit on the bottom and much higher on the top. So again, tells you how much you're going to be paying on fees on minimum and maximum. So the maximum being much less than the 1 megabyte. So again, saving money here and saving money here. So very awesome stuff. And then we also compare that to Ether and etc, as well as miners making a lot more money, again, because there's more activity in the blockchain. More people are using it, meaning more money is being made, meaning it's better for everybody else. And also looking at it in the aspect of transactions and mining, guys. So looking at it over here, it just tells you how it's a software update, improves the Bitcoin core block, brings it up to 8 megabytes. So the more transactions are working, mining is better. It's the same, works the same, but just they make a lot more as there's more activity. Again, they fixed all the bugs. Very important stuff. So here it gives you, for my visual learners out there, that I always like to say, you guys can see the transaction, owner 1's public key to hash to owner 0's signature. You have another transaction, owner 2's public key to hash the owner 1's signature. So as you guys can see, sign, verify, really gives you the breakdown here of exactly how all of this works. And guys, I say it all the time on this channel, man, for a project to be successful, for a project to be huge things like these guys are doing, you need to have a great team. And it really tells you a little bit about the developer team. As you guys can see, some big names behind it. And any questions you guys have, make sure to reach out, man. All links will be in the description as well on BITCOIN8M. And we're very excited to see what they do, man. Looking at their blog, a lot of people are talking about them, and it's with good reason. BITCOIN8M is coming to the scene and saying 8 times larger. Instead of 1 megabyte, 8 megabytes. Again, raising the transactions per second, raising the amount you can do. And it's just a win-win for everyone. Traders benefit, the people benefit, people holding it benefit, miners benefit. There's no other way to look at it, man. So I really like this. A lot of people are talking with them, and it's with good reason, guys. And now going on to the other question you guys might have, which is what will happen to businesses that transact Bitcoin? Again, every non-mining node will need to switch to BITCOIN8M or compatible binary, so we'll continue to accept blocks and case large blocks and actually produce this. And in case of business fails to switch on BITCOIN8M node before the first large block appears, again, it will not see confirmed transaction on its end, and again, there's going to be temporary disruption. So it's very important that everybody moves over together, and no reason not to, right? 8 times the size, many benefits, and this type of stuff that